Hello, everybody, and here I am today. Well, first, I'm Louise Edington, Cosmic Owl Astrology, but here with me today, I have Susan Lynn, Spirit Navigator. It's a great pleasure to have her on because apparently she's been watching some of my videos. I watched some of hers, so we thought we'd get together and talk about what's happening and what's coming up. But first of all, Susan she journeys seamlessly between realms, bridging connections as a gifted psychic medium and channel. Um, she has courses, events, and an online membership. So, whether you're looking to explore messages from beyond or seeking guidance to navigate life's challenges, Susan's vibrant, safe online community, classes, and events provide a supportive space to lift and inspire you along your journey. That's why I like you, because that's what I aim to do through my work, through astrology and the other things I do. But anyway, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. Yes, I'm a big fan of yours. Watch your videos, and I find them very helpful and accurate and such an interesting, different viewpoint, right? I mean, I find that the energy does track with the astrology all the time, but it helps me understand it in a new way. So I really appreciate that.
It does me too, it's although, I'm probably a little bit more psychic than I talk about
Yeah, I
sometimes
think so.
because it's really through the chart that speaks to me. But so Susan, I thought, everybody's worried about what's happening in the world, particularly in the USA at the moment. So I thought we'd kind of get Susan's take a little bit on where we're at and what might be coming up. So where should we start? Shall we start with what's happening now with the Epstein files slowly being dragged out of them?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I
Mm,
think that I've always thought that it wouldn't be revealed the way we all hoped it would, right?
mm,
I never really saw them giving us those files. They
mhm.
have so many ways to redact. I mean, we saw like whole pages that were just
Yeah.
black. Like how much ink, how much toner did they use, right? Um, you know what I mean? So we saw that. But here's what
Mm,
what my spirit guides have been telling me, which I think is starting really to gel into our, reality, which is the victims would start speaking up and the victims
mhm.
would not be silenced. And we've seen this, right? We've seen the victims speak up. The other thing the spirit guides have said is that whistleblowers, right? So we already have
Mm.
how many, we've seen some pretty shockingly horrible things already
Oh,
from the files that didn't come from the DOJ. They came from the House Oversight Committee or they've come from other places. So this
mhm,
energy is coming out and it's
mm,
not going to be stopped. They cannot stop it. The guides just told me it can't be stopped and they won't stop it. I think that where we're going now is, and this dovetails with a lot of stuff that's happening, but where we're going now is that this disclosure to the masses. So, you and
mm.
I and your viewers and my viewers, we've been in the trenches. We know what's going on. We see it with our own eyes.
Oh,
And it's sickening and it's horrible. But there's, millions of people in the
mhm.
United States that just can't accept it
Yeah.
or haven't
Or
taken the time to pay attention to it.
yeah. Or they
This is going
I
to
don't
wake
know
them
why
up.
it's almost like they just don't wanna see it or something. I don't know, whatever,
It's a
but
cognitive dissonance. I mean,
yeah.
you can't believe that your country
Mhm.
would be this discredited. You can't
Mm.
believe that, I saw something, I was going to make a note about it, but I saw something today where somebody said on Threads, I can't believe that these teenagers died in a Tesla because the Tesla caught fire, but they couldn't get the doors open. I can't believe this isn't hitting the news. And I thought, it's not. Why do people drive Teslas if there's a potential for you to be stuck in them if water or
I
fire or
know,
something?
we've
Well,
got one.
see, that's the same thing, like, but you're
We
an
bought
adult
it
at
before
least.
we knew.
I know. But so you can understand then, right?
Mm,
You can understand that you're making a pro con list, right? You're
mhm,
like, look, the odds of this happening are low and it's
mm,
okay. And this is what Americans are doing. They're making a pro con list. Like, it's not really that bad. It's not affected me yet. There is some similarities there. Now, of course, I'm not comparing your Tesla to
No,
the all of democracy, but
no.
I'm just saying that humans have a way
Mm,
of kind of weighing their options. And I really feel like
mm,
the majority of Americans, they cannot accept the fact that there's a guy in the White House that would be this crooked, that we
mhm.
that our checks and balances wouldn't catch it.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's where they're at. And this is the point, is that the
Mm,
Epstein files are some of the things that are gonna, like, just totally open their eyes up, because they're gonna see their sports figures, their celebrities.
mhm.
They're going to see people that they're like, "Wait a minute, this is not possible, right? This can't be possible." And then once you start seeing reality, then you start seeing it everywhere, right? So this
I
is the
know.
great awakening of the people. It's slow right
Mhm.
now, but it will continue, and it'll gain.
Oh, I think it's gonna gain speed too, and I think it's gonna gain speed rapidly now after this, Sagittarius new moon that we've just had and the February eclipse particularly.
Yeah.
But, of course, Three Eye Atlas was closest to Earth on the new moon as well, and I think that's bringing in some revelation as well. What's your thought on that one?
Well, I mean, I think it's interrupting our gravitational whatever,
Mhm,
right? It's interrupting our vibration, if nothing else. But it's also interrupting the way solar storms interrupt us, right? I
mhm,
mean, the Earth is impacted by these things that are external and outside of our, our little 3D world. So I do think it's going to impact us. And I do think it is part of the awakening. It's part of the
mm,
shaking us up to wake us up.
yeah. So, do your guides give you any idea of how things are going to develop? I know it's all kind of fluid at this point, and I know enough about predictions and things to go, at this point, there's so many variables, but there's a lot of talk about. I mean, obviously, this is not just about the USA. It's kind of centered in the USA right now, but this is a global kind of web of corruption and lies and nasty patriarchy manosphere or whatever you want to call it. Susan Lynn's as outspoken as me. In fact,
I
probably
am.
more so.
It's been pretty spicy lately. Yes, I would say
Yes.
so. Yes.
Yeah, so this is for entertainment purposes only. But there's a lot of talk that for just to go back to the USA that there's a lot of predictions that the United States is not going to be the United States anymore. What's your thought on that?
Well, I think that's a possibility. But I would say,
Mm,
how do we get there? Because I'm a very grounded person, right? Like,
mm,
I need to figure out how we get to these places. When we make these predictions,
mm,
I need to look at reality and say, how might this manifest, right? So
mm,
I think how that can manifest is what we've already seen. States are reaching out to each other and saying, hey, let's make a trade deal, let's make a
mm,
pact, let's share these vaccines, let's, because cost, just savings for volume, right? So you start
mm,
to see these states making these trade pacts, or whatever they are. That's the beginning
mm,
of the power going more to the states. And then as
mm,
that continues, the opposite side of that is the red states are going to lose power, because we know
mm.
that the blue states have more money. They
Yeah.
typically, look, California's got a budget that rivals many countries. So, they're going to have more power. So that's going to have
Mm,
an unequal situation happening there.
mhm,
Um, Now, for us to actually break apart and to keep the United States together, but maybe have territories, or I think
mm,
that's the things I've seen that people have said, we'll have territories, maybe 3 territories or whatever. Then the territories will
mm,
govern the states, and
mhm,
you can't. I don't. I can see territories, but it
mm.
would have to make sense for the states. The states have a lot of power, for like
They do.
my whole life, I've been yelled at and said that I was a stupid libtard because we're a republic. Like that's the biggest, like you're so dumb. And now I'm telling them we're a republic. I'm happy
I,
we're a republic because we
the
don't have to pay
tables are
the
turned, right?
tables are turned. We don't have to pay
Yeah.
attention to the federal government. The states have rights. And my
Hmm.
state said this is what's going to happen to my state.
Mm,
Now, I know astrologically there's a lot of energy around the Civil War. There's a lot of energy
mm,
around the Revolution, kind of energy coming back, the Chiron return. I mean, to me, when I learned about the United States Chiron return, these are things that like I'm like, okay, this is all making sense. But I
mm,
don't. I think that if we did split up, it would be a civil war. Here's what I think. I think that the robber barons, the guides that started calling them the robber barons, that's just what they call them.
mm.
The robber barons really control everything. Let's face it, right? Like they own our media, they own our
Yeah.
healthcare, they own everything. So in some ways, they control everything. And right now they're having a bad day because one of the things that I predicted last year was that humans, this is what they start calling us humans again, we're
Mhm,
just not buying things. We just wouldn't want to buy things. And last
mhm,
year I was like, when I go to buy something, I just feel sick. Like I don't want to do it.
mm.
Whereas usually Americans, we're spenders, we're buyers, we're not
Ooh,
producers, right? That's our GDP is buying things.
yeah.
So we're making the robber barons' lives much less fun. And
Mhm.
you better believe that they hire psychics and astrologers and numerologists and all
Ooh,
of
I'm
the above.
sure they
You
do.
better believe and they know what's coming. And
Mhm,
I feel like before all that goes down, they're going to make a deal with some sort
mm,
of conservative Democrat like a Jeffries.
mm,
They're going to make a deal and they're going to say, let's just go back to the way things were. Let's pretend like this never happened, right? Um,
mm. I don't
and
think we can
it's
ever go back to
it's not
how
going to
things
happen.
were then. No.
That's
Yeah.
their privileged mindset. They
Mhm,
have ripped our hearts out. They've
mhm,
exposed all this racism and
mhm.
horribleness within our own country. No, we don't want to go back to that. Thank you very much. We don't want to. So, but
I've
I think before we split up, a deal will be
mm,
made.
I've long predicted, even before our current apparent resident of the Oval Office was in the first time, that the Constitution would actually be rewritten.
Yes, it will.
I
That's
think
correct.
that's more likely. I
Well, I
think,
mean,
and
imagine what that takes. That's a ratification
oh,
by how many states? I mean, that's
huge.
a sea change. But this is where we're
Hmm.
going because you
Hmm.
can't Humpty Dumpty cannot be put back together. We cannot
Yeah.
put this back together. So,
And
and
it was imperfect the first time around anyway, because it was written by white slave owners.
that's right.
Yes, I know they were of their time, but
After they killed the greatest number of people ever, the American Native Indians, right? So,
Hmm.
yeah, I agree. We can't. That's what I'm saying. We don't want to go back. I remind Kamala Harris saying, "We're not going back." I think she knew in some level
Mm.
this was
Hmm.
happening. Maybe she didn't know it consciously, but somewhere she knew that
Hmm.
we were going to be changing forever. So
Hmm.
it's just a matter of time. I think what happens is, the interesting thing the spirit guide said we're going to be put into a medical coma. The way you put patients in a medical coma because you
Hmm.
can't fix them right now, we're going to have a pause. We're not going to fix it. We're just not going to. It's too much to fix. So what do
Mm.
you do, right? We're just going to get somebody in office that's going to just try to give us just a flat line. We just need
Mm.
a flat line. We need a chance to catch our breath. We need a chance to see what's up, what's down. And that's what I feel like we have coming up next.
Mm.
Then I think you astrologers have been predicting that there's some kind of overturning kind of turmoil that's going to be happening probably through
Mhm.
2032. And I think that's the rewriting of the Constitution and the
Mm.
conversations that have to go along with that. Because as we get into 28 and 32, I think we'll have even more sense of how white
Mm.
people are the minority,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
I
and,
know.
and
They really
everybody
are.
can have a bigger voice in
And
this,
I'm
right?
I'm I'm
And
quite glad to be in the minority,
me
thank you.
too. We haven't done a good job. I mean, God bless you, you're not from here, but I'll say I haven't. My people have not done a good job of stewarding this place, but that
Well,
we get the
we
change.
were kind of the original kind of, pilgrims, so, our
Yeah,
system had a
that's
lot
true.
to represent in this. So, I'm more than happy to hand over the reins. And I've long also visioned, so it kind of goes back to you talking about territories or things like that, little groups. I wrote an article on Medium, it was ages ago, kind of I have a dream kind of thing or whatever, of kind of like circles and then circles and then circles, and no one president, and no, this kind of talking stick more kind of thing, with all the holes um shored up that have been revealed in our laws and constitutions. I mean, how easy really has it been for them to kind of stack the courts and, you know, all those gerrymander the states, know, all those kind of things. So, what would the guides kind of see to something like that that's kind of more flattened out, as you said, not top down hierarchy?
They did
Mhm.
predict a coalition government. They did
Mm,
predict something called a coalition government, which Americans don't know anything about.
no.
And I think that that's part of the flattening. That's part of the stabilization. We really just need to get stable. I feel like
Mm.
we don't even know the tip of the iceberg of what this guy has done, the money that has been stolen and is
Oh.
missing. We don't we the tip of the iceberg, right? So as we kind of learn about that, we're going to be going through some pretty big
Mm,
shock and grief. And so we just need somebody to kind of hold us steady for a while. And so I
mm,
can see a coalition government. And you know what? I think it's anybody's guess. When we start to rewrite the Constitution, it depends,
mm,
I think, on those territories and on those states if they want to go
mm,
along with because I don't see this is why I think it could break apart because I don't see blue states settling. They're just not going
I
to settle. They're just going to say, we need health care. We need to take care of the environment and we're going to take care of our people. And these are non negotiable. So if the red states are saying, we're not going to do that, then you've got a non-starter, right? Then you have
mm,
a break apart kind of situation. So then you could have some kind of very to me it feels tenuous
mm.
oversight of the whole thing.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I do. It's very uncertain still. So, and we've never been here before in so many ways, not just the United States, though,
The whole world.
the whole world, but a lot of it is centered on us. We've never had all the slower moving planets changing signs at the same time like we have right now with Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, and some of the other newer, newly discovered planets. We've never had these interstellar objects coming in that they can't really decide if they're comets or not, and I just kind of laugh at the astronomers, I'm sorry, with their rigid definitions of these things, because Chiron is kind of comet-like as well, and Mercury's got a tail, and Chariklo, which is Chiron's wife, has got rings like Saturn. So it's like, what are these things? It's
Right.
anyway, to me, they're just energy. They're just frequency. They're all coming in to kind of help us and teach us something. But where was I going? I think people come to us for kind of guidance and inspiration and advice, but it is going to be challenging and chaotic. That's for sure. And some of it could come from the climate, from big weather events, right? That kind of just slap people around the face and they say, "What are we doing here?" You
Yeah.
know, um, and just people realizing that you know this greed and power over paradigm has got to go. Is that your feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Mm,
think people are turning against corporations and they're going to cancel
mhm,
corporations. They're going to cancel people. They're going to cancel celebrities. I mean, there's this
mhm,
sense of just being over it, not having any grace. I'm not giving you any grace at all. Did you hear
mhm.
today like I've been super busy but I just did see this allegedly because I haven't double checked this, but allegedly Bill Clinton came out and
It
said,
did.
come out
Yeah.
and put the damn files out there, put them out there for all of us to see. Because we would cancel Bill Clinton tonight,
Mhm.
today, right now, right?
We would.
And he had this sense of mind to go, let's do this, right?
Yeah.
I'm innocent. But that goes to show you how many other people have been
Mm.
quiet, right?
Oh,
Like
yes.
Deepak Chopra supposedly is in the files and nobody's heard
Mhm.
anything. I haven't heard anything from him. Maybe he has said something, but
I've not heard a thing from him. No. He was
yeah.
in the
So
emails, wasn't he, that the estate
yes,
released? Yeah.
yes, he was in the emails. So,
Yeah.
I
Mm.
just think that this is coming out and it's going to
Mm.
be it's going to really explode. And I would just want to say one thing about how do we get through this, right?
Mm.
Those of us that see the storm coming, those of us that say, "Hey, things are going to be tight," or "I need to get a second job," or "I need to maybe put off
Mm.
that big purchase," we're going to be okay.
We
It's
are.
unfortunately those people that are just believing in the status quo, that
Mhm.
America's too big to fail, the American exceptionalism, we're always going to be on top. Those are the people who never are going to see it coming, and they're going to pay
Mm.
a price, unfortunately, a greater price than we
Mhm.
will pay. Of course, we're all going to be affected. But I would tell you that because media is melting down, the guides predicted this
Mhm.
last year, um, it's time for you to maybe a lot of us to get on YouTube, a lot of us to go
Mhm.
out and help people with our own expertise. If you know how to, if you're the best person that's ever grown this type of vegetable ever,
Then
go
do it.
go do classes in your community, right? There's lots of ways for people to make money. It's not like we're all going to be stripped of our ways to make money. It's spirit is saying you've got to
Mm.
divest from these organizations, these
Mhm.
big corporations, and kind of help yourself a little bit more. And if you do that, you're probably going to be just fine.
Help yourself a little bit more, but also help each other just locally, come in. I've had an
Yes.
amazing idea in my head about using backyards for, growing food and things, but I have got black thumbs. I can't grow a thing. But but, I've and somebody did come up with it in our local community, but it never really took off and they moved to Hawaii, so it died. But it was kind of like arranging teams of people to go around and plant the gardens with
Yes.
food and kind of a community using everybody's skills. Whether it I'll put it out there, somebody can do
But
it.
we're not quite ready yet.
No, I
When
don't think we are.
that
Mhm.
energy is present, we will do it. Trust me. That's
Mm.
where we're being forced to. You're right. It's community.
Mhm.
I've been preaching that for years, right? It's
Mhm.
about maybe you don't want to go take your car to the corporation, and the guy 3 streets over does oil changes, and you
Mhm.
can get that person, male, female, whatever, to do the oil change, right? And then
Yep.
you're giving them $50 and you know what I mean? It's all in the family. It's all in the human
Mhm.
family and not in the greed family.
I do see it coming though. I took place in what's called the Utah Human Race on Thanksgiving morning. I did a
Nice,
10K. I'm not a runner. I walked most of it. I did try and run some of it, but anyway, I did it and I raised over $1,300 just individually.
nice.
But there was double the number of people took part in that Utah Human Race than there was just last year. So I think people are feeling more and more called because this was for the food bank. So, as the food stamp thing was kicking in. So I'm definitely starting to see it. Somebody's asking, will corporate money be taken out of elections? Please, I think it will. I think people have had enough.
Well, I think maybe not taken
Mm,
out, but I think more stringent guardrails
mm,
put on it, and I think maybe that leads us to Citizens United because
mhm.
that's the whole problem, right? If
Yeah.
before at least we knew who was who and what was what, and now we
Mhm,
don't. It's all very shrouded, and but I think these are the things we're going to demand, right? We're going to
mhm,
demand universal health care. We're going to demand better, like politicians have to give us their taxes. We have to know
mhm,
who's supporting them. You're going to see more organizations that are volunteer organizations pop up to give us that information because that's too hard for
mhm.
us to keep up with, right? We can't. So we need other
Yeah.
organizations to say, here's what's going on, and then we'll, give them $5 or something. Thanks for doing that work.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do think we
Mm.
have to, because how are we going to fix this if we don't?
Oh,
But
I
the
would I'd
corporations
love
right
to see
now,
publicly funded elections, but that's
oh, I
probably not
would
gonna
too.
happen yet.
It It could after this. I mean,
Mhm.
we're gonna have an opportunity to get a lot of things we want, but we have to
Mm.
push for it. We have to
Yeah.
really be ready to go sit at that table and say, "I want this." And I always encourage you
Mm.
to make your list of things that you want, right? Like, are
Mm.
you make 5 things. This is the 5 things that really matter to me, and let's
Mm.
all get out there and make it known.
I think we need to get rid somebody said, "We need affordable education for all." I think we need to get rid of that word affordable in education and
A really
healthcare.
good point.
But
Yeah.
anyway, but
Free.
that's
Just make it
free.
free.
Yeah.
I was talking to
Yeah.
a college professor yesterday, and I said, these universities don't know what's about to hit them.
Mhm.
Again, it's this willful ignorance, the guides are saying. I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe I wouldn't call it that, but y you have to look at what's really happening and stop saying to
Mm.
yourself, "It can't happen to me." It is happening to you. They are
Yes.
stripping your professors of the right to teach. They're arresting your students, right? Your
Mhm.
money, you can't nurses can't get loans anymore, right? Like
I
they nurse
know.
he basically monetized and deprofessionalized several
Mhm.
whole careers, which is gonna make it very hard for them to
Which is
get
which
funding.
means which means we'll have less
We'll have
nurses
less,
and things.
right? So how do we fix
Mm.
that is we have to
Mhm.
literally flip the whole thing on the other side, and maybe our universities, our teaching is completely
Mm.
different. I mean, completely different. Like, you can't even imagine it, right?
Mhm.
But this is where we are, right? So I do think it
Yeah.
could be free. I
And
think if free tax
I think we need an overhaul of the model, really. What do you guys say to that?
exactly.
Like, look at I mean, I'm from the UK originally. We also lived in Australia. Unfortunately, they have been going the way of the US, but the US education system sucks. Children need to move, they need to do arts, they need to do, and there's been so much focus on testing and learning by rote and so much homework. It's just brutal. And it doesn't teach that they just kind of regurgitate facts, right? They don't retain it. They're not really being educated. So that's my rant about that. But we could take that to universities, colleges. We probably do need more apprentices. Maybe nurses will go back to actually kind of learning in the hospital. Who knows? What do you guys say to
Yeah, I
that?
mean, that's it, right? The whole paradigm
Mhm.
is going to change because it
Mm.
has to. So if we can go into this time and we think if we can sort of be a little bit more flexible with our thinking about
Mhm.
maybe the postal service or maybe
Mhm.
things that we just believe in, right? Probably they're going to transform. And
Mhm.
if we can stay involved during that
Yes.
transformation, then we can help it be what we want it to be. But if we just
Mm.
freak out and say, this can't happen, I
Mm.
always need it to be like this, it's
Mm.
probably not going to be like that because it can't. It's none of these things can stay the same. And I
Mhm.
think that's going to ripple out to the world, right? Because,
Yeah.
I
And
think
that's why I won't use the word resistance because, the more you go, "No."
with the universe, the more you say no, the more you're asking for lessons. You're just asking.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And so, some of these institutions probably do need to collapse a bit to be rebuilt, to build back better, to quote somebody's campaign slogan. So somebody's asking, I think our democracy is, well, it can be rebuilt. Terrell, what does that mean? I always say, what does that really mean? Have we had a true democracy for quite a while with all the gerrymandering and, all of those kind of things? It's been unfair for quite some time, right?
It
Mhm.
certainly has. Ask anybody who's not white, and they might have a different opinion of our democracy, right? Because of
Mhm.
redlining, where they couldn't get a loan, get a mortgage. Also look at women, and now they're trying to go back and take our rights away. So
Mhm.
I think we had a shadow democracy, right? Where it was good for some
Mhm.
people, not so good for others, and really bad for still others. And I think
Mhm.
that we have an opportunity to have a more representative democracy.
Mhm.
I'd like to see us go to socialized democracy or social
Me
democracy.
too. Me too. And with ranked choice voting and things, which can have its problems, but hey,
Nothing's going to
nothing's
be perfect,
perfect.
right? And
Yeah.
that's another thing. Let's just keep working on it. And
Mhm.
I guess the other thing is we have to stay involved, right? Democracy is
Yeah.
a full contact sport. We can't just sit
Mhm.
on the sidelines. We actually have to be much more involved.
I mean, how many people didn't vote? I heard somebody say yesterday it was 90
Tremendous,
million people did not vote or something like that,
tremendous
which is
amount.
just ugh. So, you all are going to give back what you stole from me. Well, I'm a bit like loosey goosey about that because money is just energy, really. Let them sit in their greedy castles. We'll just recreate something, right? What do you think to that?
Well, I think money is energy, and I think that the
Mhm.
energy is switching to the people. And I think
Mhm.
the
Oh,
French can tell you something about that, right?
oh
So
yes.
I think that they're going to pay a price, and
Mhm.
I think that they know that. That's why they're going to
Mm.
try to make this deal with the Democrats sometime this
Mhm.
year before the midterms. They know
And
that
that's why they're grasping as well,
that's
though,
why they're
all they
grasping, and
can.
that's why
Yeah.
they're yes, exactly.
Mhm.
So they've moved the, goalposts, so to speak, way over
Mm.
here. We get back and we move it just this far. It won't even be back to where it was with Biden,
Mhm.
right? But
No.
that's the thing, what we talked about earlier. It's not good enough. They think we'll go back to sleep. They think
Mhm.
that we'll just go back to, we're not. I'm telling you right now,
Nope.
they have radicalized us. And
Mhm.
yeah, they've radicalized all of us, but there's those
Mhm.
other 19 million people that are going to get radicalized. And then we're going to
Mm.
have some real situations happening, right? And it doesn't matter if they
But talking
gerrymander, we'll vote over their gerrymanders because the
exactly.
MAGAs are gonna flip sides, and they're gonna be voting
Mhm.
for anybody that's not a
We're s
Republican.
we're starting to see that as well. So, but, to go back to that, what was stolen from us, we've seen glimmers of that already, like in Europe. They froze loads of Russian assets and are gonna help Ukraine with that money, that Russian
That
money.
was a big deal.
So it was huge, yeah. So what's happening with Greenland? Yeah, what has he mentioned Greenland lately? Anyway, it's resources, basically. Land
It's
resources,
resources
greed.
and kingdoms. He's like a king.
Mhm,
He wants to go and conquer these countries and take them over. It's almost like he saw Russia attack Ukraine and he wants his own country, right? Like
mhm,
now he's angling for Venezuela. I had a great astrologer on my channel the other day, Aubrey, who did I was shocked, y'all. I was slack jawed when she showed me this. She showed me the astrocartography for Trump,
mm.
and his Mars line goes from DC to Caracas.
I watched a bit of it.
It's
Yeah, I know.
insane. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
"Are you kidding me?" And he's got lines in Greenland. He's got
Mhm,
lines in all the places that he wants to take over, right? So it's
mhm,
so fascinating to me that
mm.
these energies are playing out like that.
I
Um,
know. 'Cause those that don't know his astrology, he has Mars conjunct his ascendant, Leo's ascendant, and so wherever he was born, that was the sign that was rising, so that line will go, right up and down that line, so yeah.
When
Pluto.
he's in the White House, he's much calm. When he's in Mar-a-Lago,
Mm,
he's much calmer because
mm,
he's not on the Mars line. So
mhm.
it's just fast. That's one of the things I said is I think we need to also have presidents be vetted by astrologers and numerologists and psychics and mediums. They need to be vetted by all of us.
But we had to kind of see him, I think. He's a player. He's a player in this big scheme of what's happening in this big shift we're going through. I literally said in 2016, he's our shadow in our face,
Well, you were right.
hitting us.
100%.
And it got worse
100%.
than I imagined, but
Well, you don't want to see the shadow, right? Like
no,
it's a shadow for a reason. So people are still
yeah.
waking up to see it.
Somebody asked, will Chiron in Taurus help agriculture? I think it will, and I think it's probably combined with everything else. You can't really look at one astrological placement separate from everything else. But Chiron in Taurus, Chiron is the healer, the alchemist, the medicine, as if you like, as well as the wound. And we're starting to see a return to more sustainable farming methods and so on and so forth. And that's what I think is coming. So, yeah, we need to dump the culture wars, address class and social mobility. Absolutely. But I think we've got to come up with something we've not even envisaged before, to be quite honest. Would you agree? Yeah. Kids
Yeah.
need more creativity. Yes, they do. In Australia, my kids' elementary school, they were outside nearly all the time in these lovely grounds
Oh, how nice.
between every class, it was, and
So
there was no
nice.
testing, no homework.
Wow. And teaching compassion, right? Like
Mhm.
you've got to somehow introduce compassion and maybe encourage compassion.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
certainly is not happening here.
No, it really is not. So, I'm just looking. I had free higher education. Yeah, I had almost free higher education in the UK. My last year in college was the first year the UK went the way of the
Oh
Americans
my
and
gosh.
had student loans. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. For forensic psychological exams before running.
It's true. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Chiron is awesome. But one thing I will mention to everybody, and I've talked about it on other things, is that I work with the Venus star point, which is when the Sun and Venus meet every 9.5 months, and they move slowly backwards through the signs, making the five-pointed star over time. And historically, the star points are very relevant. Anyway, we're having the star point return of the USA in October next year, and then after that, that star point will move back from Scorpio into Libra, so into a Venusian time. So anyway, so
wow. So
yeah.
when does it move back into Libra again?
Well, they kind of repeat
Oh,
every
dance back
four
and forth. Oh, yeah.
years,
Okay.
yeah. But the one in October is the last one in Scorpio in our lifetimes. So,
Oh, wow. Venus and Scorpio. How interesting. How interesting.
which I
Wow.
have. I have Venus in
You
Scorpio.
do? I have Venus in
Yeah.
Libra, so I'm looking forward to it being back in Libra. I'm like, maybe that'll be
Mhm.
good for me.
So yeah, so what about the global thing? Do you get messages from your guides about that? Like, I have a good friend in Ukraine,
Ugh,
and we have to, we can't give Ukraine away.
no,
So,
no. And I think that was a big thing you mentioned that Europe
mm,
took
mm,
that money that's been sanctioned and gave it. To me, that is like Europe finally saying, we again, it's all about reality. Are you seeing what's
mhm,
really happening? Do you
mm,
understand that Ukraine is the floodgate for the rest of Europe? Do you understand that Ukraine is the proxy? They are fighting
mhm.
your war for you. And you also understand that the United States is out.
Yeah.
Don't count on them. They're out. Just stop counting on them. So I think
Mhm,
when Europe did that, that was Europe saying, okay, we get it. We're on our own. We really have to do something now. So what I
mhm,
feel like is that Europe is going to come together. One of the things I predicted was that NATO would get bigger. It has gotten bigger by two countries, but I
mhm.
also feel like it's going to get bigger
I think
militarily.
so.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
was quite surprised when the Russian or whatever drone, but allegedly Russian drone, was able to enter
Mhm.
into Ireland's airspace when Zelensky was
Mm.
landing his plane.
I
I was
know.
surprised to learn that Ireland is not in NATO.
Nope.
And I'm just gonna say that gone are the days. I'm gonna tell you, gone are the days where you can just ride it alone. This is a
Mhm,
community in our local communities, but community in our countries. They need to be together for safety. They need to be together
mm,
to also shoulder the load of the cost. So
mhm,
one of the things that I do see coming for Europe, and I know that's kind of a big thing to say because Europe is a
mhm,
big thing. But I do see some austerity. because
Mm.
the money has to go to defense,
Yeah.
because the United States has been happy to be the defender because we have all the defense corporations, right? Are they
Hmm.
sucking the money out of the Americans into defense? That's I don't see that.
Europe basically gave its power away to the US, really. So.
Well,
Mm.
I know after World War
Mhm.
II, I mean
Mhm.
it all made sense at the time. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? You didn't
It
know
did,
your best friend was gonna lose their mind and become a junkie. You know what I mean? Like now we're a
but
junkie and you can't trust us.
as a whole, though, they kinda got a bit complacent that,
Well, this is the
big
problem. We all
brother
got
USA
complacent.
would. Yeah, we did. We got very
We all did.
complacent.
But so
Yeah.
now Europe is going to have some austerity because
Mm.
the defense you have to pour money into the defense, because the other thing that's going to happen is you have the BRICS, the BRIC countries. You
Mm.
have these other countries that are going to get much stronger.
Mhm.
Actually, and this energy that Donald Trump has of attacking other countries, that's not just him. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? This is potential for China to make an incursion into, Taiwan, or
Mm.
incursion into God knows whoever they want to, right? Even
Mhm.
Russia, really, if they
Mhm.
wanted to.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this
Mhm.
energy isn't going to go away, and I think that the faster we all wake up to reality and start saying, "Okay, I'm on board with having some austerity because we need to be safe." Like I
Mm.
was just very surprised about Ireland. I wouldn't I would be uncomfortable. Now, I know the Irish, the fighting Irish. I'm Irish. Okay, I get it. Like
I lived in Derry for,
I get it.
6
Don't
years.
mess with them. Don't mess with
Yeah.
Poland. Energetically, my guides are like, I wouldn't be messing with Ireland or Poland. Just do not do it, right?
Mhm.
But that still puts you at a disadvantage because you're a small
Mhm.
country and you don't have a big
Mhm.
navy, and you've got drones I mean, it's not good. It's just not
No.
good. So I think you're going to see more countries coming together for safety.
Mm. And I think that's partly because I did live in Ireland for 6 years, partly because of the whole British-Irish relationship, but
Mm.
Ireland's changed since I lived there in the '70s. Oh, boy, yeah. They're more liberal than we are now.
Yeah, they passed some pretty liberal laws recently.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to be doing it. Mexico, everybody, and we're going
Mhm.
backwards. It's
Oh,
like, my God.
I know, I know. And nobody's asked about Canada. I don't see he's not gonna
I
take
love
Canada.
Canada,
Oh,
and
I
God
adore
bless them. They
Canada.
are so pissed at us, and I don't blame it. I don't blame them
Mhm.
at all. They're
Mhm.
struggling too. They've got that area. What's that part of the territory that starts with an R? I think. But they've got their area that's oil focused, and that
Mhm.
that part of Canada is very much like Texas. It's very
It
much
is.
Republican and they're trying to roll their free, they're not it's not
Mm.
free, they pay for it in their taxes, right? But they're trying to roll back that universal health care. They're trying to do the things up there
Mhm.
that Trump is doing down here. So what I would hope is that anybody that's watching this video that's from another country see what is happening here, because
Yeah.
it can happen where you are too. This energy is everywhere, like astrology is everywhere. It's not just here in
Mhm.
the United States.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah, it's, whatever province Calgary's in, that's the worst one, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
and
where
it's
it
a
all is, but
beautiful place, my
oh,
god.
it is. Yeah, it's
Absolutely
very
stunning.
beautiful. I don't really understand this comment, sorry. The West Coast states mail ballots automatically, why don't you? I don't know what that means really, but anyway. Utah
Well,
Utah mails ballots and,
Texas
yes,
does not mail
Alberta, sorry.
ballot. Alberta,
Yeah, yeah,
Texas doesn't
yeah.
mail ballot. A lot of red
Oh,
states
Texas.
do not mail ballots. They make it
Yeah.
very hard to vote. They change the polling
Mm.
locations, they limit the hours.
Mhm.
They just make it you can't really say that red state people deserve it because they've been gerrymandered and
Mhm.
when I was in Texas, I know personally people who pushed the button for Kamala Harris and the ticker
It
said
flipped.
Trump.
Yeah, yep.
Personally, I know people that happened to. So
Mhm.
how are you supposed to fight back when that's happening, right?
I know.
So but we're going to. We're going to because
Mhm.
we're really, really sick and tired of it.
Yeah, Utah, where I live, mails ballots too, and it's a red state, but it's a red state mostly because
But you
of
guys
the
are so
gerrymandering.
independent. You're so
Yeah.
independent though. You have a real
Mm.
Wild West independent streak about you that
Mhm.
you're just not lemmings really.
No, no. And it'll change anyway. I think if I mean, it wasn't meant to be, clearly, because of timing and the energies. But if Bernie had been the nominee in 2016, Utah would have at least turned purple. I can tell you.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's somebody's saying you could let green some people use. That was my plan. Let other people use my
Oh, let other
garden.
people use your yard, right? You're like, well,
Yeah.
there it is. Please grow something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and let me just eat, or
Yeah,
just the
right.
two of us eat. That's because
I'll
we can't eat all of it. So
right. I'll take a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Love.
oh, how 45 minutes late. Yeah, you'll have to catch up. So just timing's always a terrible kind of thing. This administration, I know that fills most people's kind of
Mhm. Yeah,
field and time.
yeah.
Um, do you see it lasting, this administration, till the whole 4 years? I don't. No,
No, no. For one
no.
thing, his physical body
Hmm.
cannot stand, even if he were healthy, we know
Mm,
that the presidency is just, even if you're doing nothing, it's still a
hmm.
lot, right?
Yeah.
So his physical container just can't survive
No.
that long, and the country cannot survive that long.
No.
This guy is driving us off a cliff. So I figure by spring of next year, which is a few months away, when
Hmm.
the healthcare prices go up and people are
Mm,
still losing jobs at a steady rate, and just everything is about to just kind of slide off into the abyss. um, that that is really going to be a problem for him. Now,
mm,
again, like I told you guys, I'm a practical, pragmatic psychic medium.
mm,
So let's go back to his most recent, uh, whatever that was, his speech where he was talking so
oh,
fast. The whole time, he was trying to convince everybody that it wasn't their fault, that nothing was our fault, that everything was good. Now, if this guy felt like he had power, if he felt powerful, he would have
mm,
instead said, I'm blowing up more vessels because they're bringing in fentanyl and that's a war against us and I'm going to punch them. That's
mm,
Trump. But no, he was there trying to convince everybody everything is okay. This guy's on the ropes. He
mhm,
is being he's on his back foot.
mm,
He's barely holding on to his power and to his
mm,
health. So that tells me right it's just a matter of time. And as I mentioned, the robber barons want to get those sales back. We're still boycotting Target. Target is,
yeah.
you
I
know,
haven't set foot in Target since.
me, and I need to. Like I really need to get something and I'm like I'm not doing it, right? So these pressures are going to put pressure on the money. The money's going to put
Mhm.
pressure on the Republicans. The Republicans are going to put pressure on Trump, and something is going to give. The
Yeah,
interesting thing is, even last year, most of us cannot see JD Vance in office for very long.
I can't.
He just
I can't.
he, he just doesn't have the energy. So then that's where I come up with the coalition government because
Mm,
I think that everything might fall apart so bad
mhm,
that we just have to like hold it together. Like
mhm.
literally we need to hold it together. Again, putting
Yeah.
your patient in a coma is not your first choice, right? But you need to do it to keep them alive. So I think timing wise, I feel like big things are going to be happening in January, February, and
Mm.
March. Really
What's
big
that?
things.
That eclipse in February. Whew.
That eclipse, and I don't know what is happening in January, but there's something big happening in
Oh,
January around the
oh, there is
16,
around the
17, 18.
6th, and well,
Oh,
this.
no, I'm all the way to the middle
Oh,
of the month. I don't that
oh, well, there's several big things coming up. Yeah.
see, there
Anyway.
you go. So so then you what I'm saying is between that happening and the summer and the midterms,
Mm,
we're talking about a sea change.
yeah.
Now, it's the sea change depends on us, like how busy we can be, how plugged in we can be,
Mm,
and how we can just really keep pushing for our people to be in office. And then whoever
yes.
gets in office, stay on them, right? Because that does make a difference. And here's the
Mhm,
last thing I just want to say. Once Trump is
mm,
gone, you guys, the compromat is gone. The
mhm,
dirt that Russia has on all these Republicans, once Putin is gone and Trump is gone, they're free. They're
Yeah.
free to actually be Americans again because I
Hmm.
don't feel that they can, McConnell,
Oh,
Grassley, um, all these people, even JD was calling Trump a Hitler, and then he
I
had to turn
know.
around and sing a new song, right? Well, that's because of this dirt. So once the dirt is
Mm,
gone, we can
mm,
actually get back to a little bit more normalcy. So those are big things that are going to happen that are going to
mm.
make us feel better. We're going to feel better.
I think I do have to say that the Democratic Party has to wake up a little bit as well, though, because they're not all the good guys, and I don't know if you saw James Carville of all people wrote an op-ed in the New York Times saying that the Democrats need to go big on an angry populist economic message, and I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? I agree with Carville.
He's right sometimes. He just happens to be a misogynist and sometimes a
Yes,
racist, if you ask me.
yes.
But he's using their playbook against them.
Mhm.
And
He
he's
is.
not afraid to throw the flamethrower in the house,
Mhm.
and the Democrats are afraid, right? That's why we need
Oh,
people like Jasmine Crockett and
yeah.
AOC, and even Bernie has always been an outspoken Elizabeth Warren,
Mhm.
Sheldon Whitehouse. There's people, but they're like a handful, right? And then
Yeah.
we've got a bunch of people who are rubber stampers or apologists, or who's like, my biggest
Mhm.
fear, my biggest fear is that the Democrats say, "Oh, okay, you're sorry. You're really sorry. Okay, come on." You know what I mean?
I
We're gonna
know.
invite all these people back in our house to rob us
Oh,
again. I'm like, God, don't
somebody
do it.
somebody asked, will there still only be two parties? Initially, it's the way the system's set up, right, at the moment. Um,
I do see
so
more
it
multiple parties though.
but later, yeah, I think once things are restructured
Once
and
things
organized, it's
well, the Republican Party might melt down and become something new
well,
this
the
coming year in 2026, right?
yeah.
Because if they can't pry it out of Erica Kirk's hands or JD's hands, then they're gonna have to do something. So I think we could have more
Mhm.
parties sooner rather than later. We could go to ranked
Mhm.
choice voting sooner
Yeah.
rather than later. It's
Or
just
people,
the
or more
Constitution.
independents like Bernie, who,
Or more
yeah.
independence, a whole lot more
Mhm.
independence. I think
Mhm.
the midterms is gonna be a lot more
Yeah.
independence. I think
Yeah.
those changes are possible before we do an actual
Mhm.
constitution change. We might
Yeah.
actually even get rid of the electoral college before we
Oh,
do a constitutional change. But all these things are lining up as
yeah.
potential things that would be game changers.
And make ballot access easier, because that's the reason, a lot of, like, the Green Party, which I think is pretty weak source, but, it's they can't get on the ballot. It's really hard to get on the ballot, the
Yeah,
way the system is at the moment. So, it is gonna, I think, yeah, those kind of more backdoor shifts, I think, I agree, will probably come in first, but it's gonna change. It's gonna be unlike anything we've had before. We're not
yeah.
gonna go back, as Susan Lynn has
No.
she keeps saying.
And Kamala Harris said it. You know what my
Mm.
guides just told me? You guys can use this on your crypto friends, or maybe if you have crypto, I don't care, but you can tell them if you have crypto and you're able to sign in to your account very securely and get your money or
Mhm.
move your money, then you can actually vote through your phone. Why can't we make it so controlled like it is our
Mhm.
banking, right?
Yep.
We have the technology to do
Oh,
this, to
yeah.
make voting, maybe make it compulsory like it is in
Mhm.
Australia, but and
Mhm.
also to make it like, okay, I'm gonna vote here, bam, I'm gonna hit my phone
Yeah.
and I'm gonna put my eyeball biometrics. The guides were talking to me this morning about biometrics. I'm gonna scan my eyeball
Mhm.
and vote, right? There's
Mhm.
always going to be problems with everything, but we have to make it
Oh,
easier,
there
like
is.
you're saying, Louise. We have to make it easier.
And people are going into fear, going, well, oh, technology, that could be rigged. Well, so could paper
Everything. So
ballots.
can
So,
paper ballots. I have stories about paper ballots, you guys. I mean,
mhm,
I was a vote like a security person,
mm,
and the box came in front of me, and there was me and a Republican sitting at the table, and we opened the box, and there was no ballots in it.
oh,
No ballots. And I looked at this guy, and he looked at me, and he was a Republican. He was terrified. He was like, I know this precinct. He's like, I went to this precinct and checked on it, and there was a big crowd there. And it
oh,
wasn't, I'm like, and you know what? A police officer, because they had troopers there, a trooper
mm,
picked up the box and left and wouldn't let us know what happened. We couldn't have our cell phones. Paper ballots are just as we seen it, like the guides are reminding
yeah,
me. Remember last time when the paper ballots were on fire? Remember that when they were dumped, people showed up with them and said,
hmm,
"Here, I found some ballots." Everything is crackable. Is we just
oh,
have to make sure that we believe in the systems and we
hmm,
are participating in the systems.
exactly.
We've kind of checked out, and now the system is, the fox is guarding the henhouse.
There's even things like I'm on caucus night here in Utah in 2015. It would have been before no, it would have been 2016. Bernie won't beat Hillary by miles because she's not liked in Utah. But the Democratic Party, where the votes were being counted, kind of just said, "Oh, let's call it this." They
Right.
gave up
With no need to go there. Right?
to make sure that she got one. Um, you know,
See,
oh
one more delegate. See, this
yeah,
is what the
hmm,
Democratic Party, it's all broken.
hmm,
It's all corrupt
hmm,
to some degree. And then I
hmm,
think that these people like Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and those people I talked
hmm,
about, they could they could start their own party. I mean,
mm,
if we go to ranked choice voting, then we don't need the party system the way it is
exactly.
it's
Hmm.
ranked choice, right?
Yeah.
So just hold on to to yourself, because 2026, big changes. Big
Somebody said, "Will Kamala be involved?" And then somebody else said Kamala crypto. No, I don't think they were associating Kamala with
No, I'm not.
crypto. No,
Oh,
no, I don't think anybody in the
but she's
comments was
gonna
either.
run. Don't you feel
I
like
th-
she's gonna run in 28?
I think she might, but I think she's more interested in helping them change the system rather than running just for the
That's true.
presidency.
That's
So,
true.
just
If
from
she
some of the things she said, and I did read her book.
Yeah, yeah, I have it
She
behind me.
keeps saying the system's broken, and she's right.
And that's why she got outside of the system,
Yeah.
right? So you make a really good
Mhm,
point that by the time 28 comes around, if she doesn't think she can change the system from the presidency, she's not gonna put herself in the system,
mhm,
which I think is the biggest gift, the biggest sign of patriotism that you could
mhm,
possibly have.
mhm. Yep, yep, and she's Kamala said she is running, did she? I haven't
She's
heard that.
intimated. She's
Mm,
intimated that she would consider it, right? I think she
yeah.
has to. And I don't think we're saying she's not going to run. I think we're
No.
saying she's going to be smart about what she's going to do.
Mm,
Um, and I'm not a fan of crypto. I'm just saying that if
oh,
we can have crypto, if you can make something so secure that you can sign onto your bank on your phone
mm,
while you're at Starbucks.
mhm.
Come on, you. This is what I'm saying. We have to start
Voting can
thinking.
be that secure, that's what
Yeah, we
Susan's
have to
saying.
think
Yeah,
way outside of the box here, because you're
yeah.
not gonna do well in 2026
Mhm,
if you continue to say
mm,
everything has to be the same. It's gonna be rough.
yeah.
It's just gonna be really rough. We really have to, whatever that is. Like a couple of years ago, I kept saying everything is dissolving, and I
Mhm.
didn't know why. And now, what planet is it that's dissolving everything?
Neptune.
Neptune. Right, so
Yep.
I didn't know why, but I'm like, everything's
Yeah.
gonna dissolve, right? Like media,
Mhm.
Hollywood's gonna go dissolve, CBS
Yeah.
is gonna dissolve. I kept saying this, but now I know astrologically why that is happening, and that's
Yeah.
what's gonna continue to happen, and we just have to think that maybe it's for the better.
Mhm. Exactly. Well, this has been really fun. It's been a really quick hour.
All right. Thank
but
you for having
but
me on.
I think I'm going to be on Susan's channel at some point, and
Yes,
I could see
absolutely. I
us,
hope so.
I could see us doing this on
Yes.
a semi-regular basis. We're both really busy, but
I loved it.
we
I'm so glad.
I need to see your chart as well, Susan. Not on
Okay.
live here, but you could
Yeah,
send
yeah.
it to me. Anyway.
I love it. I don't know, I'm so addicted to astrology and astrologers. For some reason in this lifetime, I wasn't meant to be one or to
Yeah.
do it, right?
No.
So I've said, well, if I can't, then I'm gonna surround
Mhm.
myself with astrologers then. So
AOC
I
may
really
run. Yeah, she might run. It's a long way
Oh,
away.
yeah.
I wish we'd stopped focusing on the next presidential race as
We
soon as
kinda
one
need
is
we have a lot
elected.
on our plate right now. That's right.
Yeah,
We got
we
a
do.
lot on our plate right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll notify you. Yeah. Okay, well, this has been a real pleasure, but I'm gonna end the broadcast now. Any last words from you, Susan, where people can find you or your membership
Oh.
or things like
Thank
that?
you so much. Yeah, my website,
Mm,
susanlynnmedium.com, susanlynnmedium.com. But my last words
mm,
are keep the faith, keep the hope.
mm,
We're not the monsters. They are the monsters. We're seeing a lot of monsters. We're like, oh my God, we're monsters. I get it. But you know
mhm.
what? Look for good things. Go online and
Yeah.
look for positive stories because there's so many more positive stories. All you're being
Oh,
sold is negative, 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 and that puts you
yeah,
in fear and it takes you out of the game. We're not going to be out of the game. We are here. We're here for each other, and we're in the love and the light.
we are. Until next time, I'll end the broadcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.